The time has come for the Wing Attack Shadow Charizard PvP IV Deep Dive, Great League Edition, focusing on the important stat checks and PvP IVs for Shadow Charizard in the Great League. If you want to check out the Ultra League Edition, link up above in the description once I have that video up. And if you want to reference any of the material covered in this video in a text-based format, covering both the Great League and the Ultra League information, and having the PvP IV tables that I feature in these videos, well, link in the description to my article on GamePress, the Charizard PvP IV Deep Dive. And of course, if at any point in this video you're kind of confused with what I'm talking about, you're not too familiar with PvP IVs, well, link up above and description to my PvP IVs simplified video, basically getting your feet wet before you dive off into the deep end here. And without further ado, let's talk about that Wing Attack Shadow Charizard in Great League PvP. So starting out, we have Shadow Charizard in the Great League. And when it comes to the Great League Shadow Charizard, the main thing it's concerned about is going to be its bulk. 108.75 defense with at least 117 HP is kind of the goal, but because it is a Shadow Pokemon, you're probably not going to have the most perfect IVs ever, and to that end, I'd say having roughly 107.45 defense with at least 115 HP is a pretty solid workable minimum. Also, if you don't happen to have any of the 232 IV spreads that are featured on this table here, I wouldn't sweat it too much because Charizard mostly lives and dies by having energy advantage and shield advantage, so if you don't have the most premium bulk Charizard ever, it's not that big of a deal. You know, you're probably going to get KO'd by that Hydro Cannon anyways, right? But the whole point of having this super high level of bulk is for those situations where you do survive a charge move, and that does let you reach that extra charge attack yourself, which could be a huge deal in some matchups. When it comes to the defense stat, the 107.45 recommendation is to help avoid the fast move breakpoint from opposing Shadow Charizards. If they were to get that mirror breakpoint on you and you don't get the mirror breakpoint on them, then that could help them flip the zero shield situation because of the extra wing attack damage they'd be dealing to you. So the 107.45 accounts for kind of the upper attack range of 117 HP Shadow Charizards. If you have even higher than that, like 108 defense, then that will protect you a bit better from the upper range of attack weights from 115 HP Charizards. When it comes to the even higher recommendation of 108.75 defense, that's to help out mostly against the Charm Shadow Alolan Ninetales 2-2 shield situation. You're a fire type Pokemon, you should be resisting those charms, and resisting those charms should have a good payoff for you. So yeah, having that higher defense, that can help out. This is based against a rank 1 Shadow Ninetales though, so clearly there are going to be higher attack weighted ones out there that you fight in the field. So having higher defense could be even better. There are these higher defense breakpoints as well, but I'd say their utility is kind of niche. At the end of the day, if you could have higher HP instead of even the higher defense, I'd probably much rather have the higher HP. When it comes to the HP side of the force, the 115 is for the Sableye 0-0 shield situation and the Toxapex 2-1 shield situation. Now that's like the focus here, but the main idea behind having the higher HP is so that you could potentially survive like fast move and charge move chip damage in uneven situations and reach an additional charge move, which would be pretty huge for the Shadow Charizard and its amazing blast burns, right? So having higher HP, always ideal. 115 though can offer you these specific benefits. If you have 116 HP, you have better potential for the Tapu Fini 1-0 shield situation and a potential for the Powdered Snow non-Shadow Alolan Ninetales in the 1-1 shield situation without having to bait a Dragon Claw. Now if you happen to have an even higher, wackier HP stat, such as 118, then you could also possibly overcome Altaria in the 2-1 shield situation, but that's a lot of HP. I'd be pretty surprised if you got like 115 to begin with, because Shadow IVs are very hard to control, and getting the ones that you want is even harder. Now, as far as the attack stat is concerned, there are some cheeky attack breakpoints. Having a very slight attack weight of about 132 can help out in the Registeel 1-2 shield situation. If they were to get the Zap Cannon debuff against you, your Blast Burn will still very likely be able to take it out. If you have a 132.76 attack stat, you can get a breakpoint against the non-Shadow Venusaur, which can help you out in the 0-1 shield situation if you happen to not have the defense breakpoint on it, which I Kind of doubt that you'll have the defense breakpoint that's like basically 111 defense for like the rank 1, so good luck on that, right? 132.76 attack, a little bit easier. And then finally we got 133.06 for the Sableye 2-2 shield situation, which is pretty tasty. Overall, I'd probably much rather have much higher bulk than having that attack breakpoint, but if you don't have that much higher bulk, then getting that attack breakpoint is pretty solid. Okay, Ryan Swag, well, all these magical PvP IVs and breakpoints and stuff, that's all great, that's all cute. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to watch the PvP IVs simplified video that you have linked in the description and you talk about at the beginning of every single video. I just want to know what the pro players are actually using. Well, I reached out to several pro players that have used Shadow Charizard in their days, such as Wadaj, who got second place NAIC, using Shadow Charizard and probably the most Shadow Charizard heavy North American meta. Also third place world champion for 2023 and first place Sylph champion for 2023. Very highly decorated player, one of the best players in the world. I also talked to Tho Technical and 23EJB, similarly very high level pro, highly decorated players from Europe, which is where is like the birthplace of Shadow Charizard, right? And all three of these players had 115 HP on their Shadow Charizards. All three of them also felt that their Shadow Charizards were kind of scuffed and they'd like to have even more HP on their Shadow Charizards. So theory into practice, it seems like bulk is on the minds of a lot of players when it comes to Shadow Charizard. There is one dark horse out there though that went against the grain, Rise to Occasion. Maybe you heard of him. If you paid attention to his battles for the finals at NAIC, his Charizard was doing a little bit of extra fast move damage against Wadaj's Charizard. That's right, Rise had the Mirror Slaying Charizard. High enough attack weight to get the wing attack breakpoint, high enough defense weight to avoid the wing attack breakpoint. So that helped him out quite a bit in that tournament. He didn't beat Wadaj. Clearly the Charizard wasn't exactly lacking for him. But I feel like overall this is a pretty good narrative for PvP IVs in general. When it comes to all these breakpoints and advantages that I highlight in these videos, if you don't have the best of the best stuff, if you don't have the most perfect, stat product, the most perfect bulk product, the most perfect swag IV Pokemon, as long as you know what advantages your Pokemon are and aren't getting based on the stat weights that they have, you can turn these disadvantages into your own kind of niche tech to help you get ahead, be it in a Play Pokemon tournament or even in GBL. So while I do have recommendations in this video for the high bulk ones, it is good to color out of the lines sometimes, especially if you can't color in the lines to begin with. And with Shadow Pokemon, it's a lot harder than anything else. And at the end of the day, Charizard's going to get taken out by a charge move. Like, how many times is that 1 or 2 extra HP really going to be that important? Obviously, the few times that it does come up, it'd be pretty big. But at the end of the day, we got to work with what we got. That's all I got to say right now about Wing Attack Charizard in the Great League. If you got any questions on this content, of course, comment below. Let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. If you enjoyed this kind of content and you want to see more like it, maybe you want to know about Wing Attack Charizard in the Ultra League PvP, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. Would you believe it that the latest GBL update features probably 150 different moveset changes and not a single one of them touches my son Dedenne? It's still going!